Hello, my name is Scott McVarish. I'm with the Immigration Law Office of Los Angeles. I want to talk to you today about O-1 applications. These are for artists and other extraordinary individuals. There's a couple videos we're doing on O-1s. This video is meant for the artists themselves, because in any application, there's really three parts. The first part is about the event sponsor or about the petitioner, the people who are bringing you over as an artist. Different video. This one is really focused on the second part of an O-1 application, which is establishing your bona fides as an artist, meaning showing the US government that you are as every bit talented and famous and amazing and extraordinary as we are saying you are. And then we'll talk briefly about the third part of the application, which is to establish something called non-immigrant intent. So let's get right to it. When you work with an attorney, and you really do have to work with an attorney on an O-1 nowadays, when you work with an attorney, they're going to want as much proof as possible, as much written evidence and documentation that you are as every bit an artist as your sponsor and your attorney are saying you are. This can be challenging, so we'll take some easy situations and then we'll take some hard situations and try to work through those. So for an easy situation, say you're an artist and we have written documentation, because that's what we submit to the government, is things in writing, very old-fashioned. We don't get to show them YouTube clips. We don't get to do virtual reality. It's very old-fashioned, black and white pieces of paper and color sometimes. But we have to give them written documentation. So you might be an artist who has had coverage in newspapers, in magazines, online, and that would be an easy thing, an obvious thing to submit. You might also have been to conferences. You might have spoken at conferences, and we would like that type of documentation. You might have some other type of third-party award that you have been given. So someone's recognized your artistry and they've given you an award. That would be a very valuable piece of information. You might have box office receipts where you have performed somewhere and had a large audience, or maybe you were paid for some of your work, and we can show that the money you received is money that only an artist at a certain level, a certain high level, would receive. These are all easy examples of documentation. Before we move to the more difficult things, let me just give you a word on how to work with your attorney. So you have all this documentation. Generally, don't email them to your attorney. Don't send your attorney 20, 30, 40 emails, each with a separate piece of information. The best way is to upload it into the cloud. You have a shared folder. Our office will share a folder with you. You upload everything. When you do, if you've got the time, it would be great to have everything in separate files, and you name them so that we can look at them at a glance. If not, we'll do that for you. It just adds a layer of time into the process. But the great thing about having it up in the cloud is now you have it all organized for yourself, because you never know when you'll need it. Many of our artists' clients already have that. Sometimes their managers have that, so it's a matter of just sharing that with us, which is great. But if you don't, help create that. It's almost like a portfolio in the cloud. So those are kind of some easy examples of things you might be able to give us. But let's talk about some more difficult things. Imagine now that your artistry is all online, and your fan base is on Instagram or in YouTube or maybe Facebook, which is more rare. If so, how do you establish your bona fides? Well, certainly we can look at the likes and your followers. We can look at how much traction that you're getting for things you're posting. But USCIS will investigate that. They're going to look for whether or not you're purchasing some of those followers or likes. I doubt you are if you're working with us, but nevertheless, they're going to look for that. But there's other ways that our office has established. So for instance, we might do a Moz search, which is a way to show all of the different third-party websites that have connected to your video or to your website or to your portfolio or to an article you've written or something, to show that people really are paying attention. It's not just that people are watching it, but that people have connected and are showing their followers or their readers or their base your work. That's an excellent way for us to show that. Now let's say you do short movies, 15, 20-minute movies. Unfortunately, we can't send them the movie. We could, but they're probably not going to watch it. Or if they do watch it, they're not going to give you credit for it. We'll certainly watch it, but nevertheless, we want to show that other people care about those 20-minute clips. Again, it might be awards, it might be people linking to those sites, it might be something that only you might be able to think of. You know somehow that this has been used or has been given some type of promotion in some niche area, perhaps in your home country, that even we could not find through Google search. So you tell us about that. So sometimes what our clients do is they'll give us a list of kind of their portfolio, so to speak. And in this portfolio, they'll annotate for us, they'll write for us about how each of their items has gained fame or given them traction or in some way has helped establish them as an artist. So do that for us, and that helps us make the case for you. Next, I want to talk about your non-immigrant intent, just briefly. What is that? Well, when you come on an O-1, you're making a promise to the US government that you are only going to be here temporarily for this short visit, for a concert, for a series, for a performance, whatever it is. And then you're going back to your home country. We actually have to establish that as part of your application, that in fact, you are going to go back to your home country. How do we do that? We show that you have ties to that home country, that you have a rental agreement, that you have a lease if you or a mortgage if you own it, that you own property, that you have money in the bank account. Even better, you've got a job, or you have a series of performances, or you have some lectures you're giving, something that allows us to show you have motivation to go back. Perhaps you have a spouse, perhaps you have a child, perhaps you have elderly parents who you're taking care of. Something to show. So start thinking about that now, because every single person has to show that non-immigrant intent. And every single attorney has to prove that this artist has that non-immigrant intent. The very final thing I want to say to you is you will have an interview. The interviews are generally pretty low-key. They're done at the end of the application, and it should be a mere formality for you to be approved. Should be, but isn't always. Here's how to best hurt your interview. That would be to not know what your attorney has submitted for you. Sometimes we are colorful and creative in our description of your exploits and amazing abilities. You need to be on the same page as us with that. You need to be able to know what we have said about you, because you might be asked about those things. So if we said you had this groundbreaking concert in Prague, make sure you refer to that concert you did as groundbreaking. So there's got to be consistency with what we have submitted for you and your answers to any questions. So in a way, you need to do some homework and studying about yourself. So that's kind of it for today's video. We're doing other videos on O-1s and other types of ways to get people into the United States. Things are more difficult than they were under President Obama and even under President Bush, but they're definitely not impossible. With the right attorney, with the right effort and focus, you can get your application approved. And here at the Immigration Law Office of Los Angeles, we would love to help you. Give us a call at 800-792-9889, or you can just email us at assistant, assistant, at immigrationhelpla.com. Thank you so much.